Hey everybody, welcome to 2018 and the first show of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. We come to you from Greenville, South Carolina, home of the 2018 Bassmasters Classic. We're standing inside here at the TD Center in Greenville, one of the biggest turnouts on a Friday that I've ever seen for a Classic. With that, the Classic's going to be fished on Lake Hartwell. Some of the best anglers on the planet on the water right now, today. And we brought our own Vance McCullough to help us kind of figure out. Vance, good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you as always,
Welcome to 2018.
Thank you.
Vance, we're talking about the Bassmaster Classic. We're here at the TD Center. Let's transition to Lake Hartwell. What are these guys going to have to do the next 3 days to win the championship?
Boy, John, you asked the loaded question there. We've been asking these guys the same stuff for a couple of days here at Media Day yesterday, this morning when they're blasting off. And the one thing I've been able to figure out is the guy who wins this tournament eventually, right now, probably doesn't know how he's going to win this tournament. There's going to be adjustments on the fly. We've had some wacky weather, recently, and there's some weather coming. We got a big storm front going to hit in the morning, so these guys are going to have to stay on their toes, chase these fish. There's probably 3 good patterns in play, and I just can't wait to see how it shakes out.
Vance, tell us about what we're going to be doing on the water tomorrow and Sunday.
As always, we'll be out there bringing you more coverage than anybody, but just like we did at the Cup, we're going to bring in Brad Knight, a seasoned professional angler who's going to take us around the lake, give us some color commentary, and really put us inside the minds of these anglers as we put you on the water, all the action here at the Bassmasters Classic.
Okay, Vance, let's take a look at the results from day one.
The day one weigh-in featured lots of exciting surprises. Last year's Classic champ, Jordan Lee, scrapped his practice plans and made a big adjustment. That adjustment led to an 18-pound, 10-ounce day and put him in good position.
5 fish, look out, 18 pounds, 10 ounces, 18 pounds, 10 ounces.
He worked shallow targets, including boat docks, to catch most of his weight. Edwin Evers was a man with a plan, and it worked. He was tight-lipped about the details, but he did admit to catching some 25 bass, throwing back 40 pounds in call weight into the lake, and he was surprised at the size of the fish he was able to keep.
Looking for 16.9, you think he's got it? 19 pounds, 9 ounces!
Edwin's roommate and good friend Jason Christie was the day one leader. The guy who finished second in the Angler of the Year contest last year was fired up. He got on the fish right off the bat and was still culling fish when it was time to come in.
Looking for 19 pounds, 10 ounces to take the lead away from his roommate, Edwin Evers. 20 pounds, 14 ounces. 20 pounds, 14 ounces.
As would most guys who catch 20 pounds, 14 ounces, Jason Christie is hoping the day two weather changes won't wreck his plan. Folks, we'll be right back with day two coverage from the 2018 Classic on Lake Hartwell.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, sponsored by Ranger Boats, featuring the Z Comanche, 50 years in the making, by Mercury Marine, quality, performance, innovation, reliability, and by Strike King Lures, celebrating 50 years.
Here comes the rain. What's that girl? Flo needs help? Take me to her! Hurry, Flo! Why aren't we taking roads? Flo!
Oh, you made it. Do you have change for $1?
This was the emergency? Yes, I was busy.
24-hour roadside assistance from America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
You know, I think you're my best friend. You
You don't have to say I'm your best friend. That's okay.
For 50 years, Ranger has led the way in innovative, high-performance designs, and we're raising the bar again with a bold new flagship line, the Ranger Z Comanche L Series. These rigs are custom crafted with a passion for perfection and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver domination at every level. The next generation Ranger L Series. Celebrate a legacy, 50 years in the making.
You know, guys, I hate to admit it, but before every tournament, I have to tie one on. And I really hate to admit this, but before the Bassmasters Classic, I really have to tie one on. And if you do what I did and tie one on from Strike King, maybe you'll get what I got, a classic hangover.
Day 2 of the Classic began with heavy rain and lightning, causing a delay of about 20 minutes. Many of our anglers already had this weather on their mind after the Day 1 weigh-in. Here's what they had to say about it.
Every day is different in fishing, whether this tournament or any tournament, the weather, it predicts it. I mean, it changes everything. So every day's different, and I'm pumped to get out tomorrow and see what bites.
I think the fish will bite in the whole lake tomorrow, honestly, because of that weather, you know, because of the front we've got coming through. I think they will feed regardless kind of what you're doing or where you are. You just got to figure out how they're feeding.
I don't think a lot's going to change. I think you're going to see the deeper fish bite a little bit better and a little longer into the day.
The weather's probably going to affect me a lot, just the way I was fishing today, fishing shallow, fishing, you know, some shade around docks and things like that. And, you know, with the clouds tomorrow, I feel like that bite's going to hurt. It's going to hurt it. So I don't know. I'm going to have to kind of figure something else out.
Bassmaster anglers Edwin Evers and Ott Defoe were doing battle all day long. Check this out. Folks, we're here at the Expo, a very busy, crowded Expo here at the Classic. Brad, I mean, what's up with this? I mean, it's midday, early morning Saturday, and it's just packed.
Well, it's Saturday. Things are happening here in the South. People are tired of the wintertime. Hey, Bassmaster Classic rolls to town. You get out of the house, you get down to the Expo, and get on live and see what's happening out on the water.
We're going to follow that live a little bit, and we'll be on the water tomorrow, but a lot of the same names in the top 20, they're jockeying a little bit for position, but the guys that hadn't figured out yesterday, they've just kept on rolling with it today.
Yeah, I think, and that's a sign of just the conditions. They're really starting to be stable here. A couple of weeks back, things were really warm, and then we had a big cold front set in, and now we're kind of on the backside of that. You're seeing the weather get warmer every day. I think yesterday was in the 70s. The important part to me is the nights are being warm, and you get those stable conditions. Every day things are getting better for the shallow water anglers, and I anticipate that's how this Classic is going to be won.
Yeah, we've seen guys throwing spinner bait with painted blades on them in this water, kind of like smallmouth fishing, and jerk baits, and it's just kind of running the gamut. Any kind of shallow water technique you could use, they're doing it. And they're around the docks real heavy yesterday. I would imagine they're kind of the same areas, but fish are a little more loose maybe?
Yeah, I think what happens, you got these herring lakes, and these fish go into these guts and these creek channels, and then as they stage to the bank, they get under these floating docks. And that's really where those big females are going to be staged up, and that's what these guys are picking off one by one. And it's what you're seeing later in the day is when the sun's getting really out, those fish are sucking up under those black floats where it's warm, waiting that final move to push to the bank to spawn.
Let's recap the top 5 for day 2. Gerald Swindle had motor problems out on the lake. He still caught 15 pounds and moved into 5th place. The bass and the competition on day 3 better be careful because Gerald Swindle is mad.
It's good to be in the hunt. You know, I just had one of them days. One of them days. It's like being locked in a phone booth listening to Britney Spears. I just thought they had her CD on repeat all day. Things happen and we can't control it. I don't know if it was water in the fuel. We got something going on, and you know, I had a few hours I couldn't get things back going, but you know, I'm always saying it's a positive mental attitude. You just fight through everything, fight through everything.
James Elam remained consistent. The Oklahoma angler came in fourth. He had another solid day. He said no adjustments were necessary. He's not doing anything unusual. The weather didn't hurt his fish, and he's ready to get on with the final round of competition. The big mover of the day was Micah Frazier from Georgia. Frazier went shallow, covered a lot of water, and caught over 18 pounds to move into third place. Once again, it's roommates Edwin Evers and Jason Christie fighting it out for the top spot at a Bassmaster Classic. Evers says anything is possible, but he would like to have a slightly smaller hill to climb than the 5-pound lead he spotted to his friend Christie. For his part, Christie just had another spectacular day, putting 17 pounds on the scale to go along with his 20-pound, 14-ounce first-day effort. The key to his success has been staying on the move, and he feels like he has a fair chance to win. But he did say, if it doesn't happen, I should, quote, get an A for effort.
This portion of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter, by Costa Del Mar, eyewear made with the angler in mind, by TH Marine, quality marine products, and by ARE truck caps, covers, and accessories.
From the dedicated, passionate anglers at G. Loomis, we bring you E6X. We know fishing and know how to make high-performance rods. Each E6X blank features multi-taper technology and action-matched high-grade cork handles, providing perfect balance and sensitivity. E6X belongs in your hand. Feel connected. For more information, visit gloomis.com.
From bass and walleye to crappie and the great outdoors, no one has ever built aluminum boats like these from Ranger. They're packed with standard features. The ride is super smooth, they're whisper quiet and incredibly stable. Check out the difference in quality, performance, and room in a Ranger aluminum design. America's fastest growing aluminum line. No matter what you're after on the water, these rigs are engineered to excel and priced to be yours.
Are you done yet?
Does it look like I'm done?
Shouldn't you be at work?
Todd.
Hold on.
Your real bike's all fixed.
Man, you guys are good.
Well, we are the #1 motorcycle insurer in the country.
Wait, you have a real motorcycle?
And real insurance with 24-hour customer support.
Well, I retire as champion.
Game hog.
Champion.
Well, folks, here we are. Final morning, Championship Sunday, 2018 Bassmaster Classic. I'm here with Brad Knight. Knows a thing or two about high stakes bass derbies. Brad, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. You know, it's exciting to be out here. It's Championship Sunday. You know, when you get up in the morning on a championship event and you know somebody's life is fixing to get changed forever, that's special. The electricity's in the air. It's going to be a showdown, man. Everybody's jammed up.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are jammed up on the leaderboard and up in the Tugaloo River. One guy who's kind of broke from the pack and knows enough to do it, Casey Ashley. He said he's going to do something a little different. That makes him kind of dangerous. Gerald Swindle is fired up. He's kind of dangerous. He had motor problems yesterday, so inadvertently or accidentally laid off some of his fish, not meaning to, but you got to think that means he's sort of saved some stuff, and he's in a bad mood. So, you know, those two guys are dangerous. Is there anybody else back in the pack, Brad, you think we ought to watch for and might make a move here on the final day?
Well, there's a guy that nobody's really talking a lot about, and it's a fellow East Tennessee pro, grown up fishing with him my whole life. Extraordinary fisherman, Ott Defoe. You know, this kind of falls into his wheelhouse. Shallow water, power fisherman. You know, he's a guy you're going to have to watch out for as well. He's going to make them earn it today.
Well, the Lee brothers are the first two to put limits on the board this morning on Bass Track, and you're right, Ott Defoe is a shallow water guy. All the gentlemen here have talked about how these fish have kind of rushed the bank during this event. They should be up there chomping this morning. Let's put on these Mustang PFDs and go find out, Bubba.
Let's do it.
Well, Brad, here's a gentleman you know over here fishing back here in the back of Beaver Dam Creek at Brandon Polinick. He's kind of always a threat to win if he can make it to the final day, and here he is back here pounding on some shallow water.
Oh yeah, Brandon's been steady Eddie this week. I think he's had like back-to-back 13-pound days, made the cut. He's back in one of the historic creeks on Lake Hartwell. It's Beaver Dam Creek. A lot of money's been made here.
So, you know, you can get on the right stretch of bank and catch one of those big bags of fish. 24, 25 pounds, definitely possible here.
Big flat area, shallow area. It's got a little creek running through here. You think he's sitting off just a little bit on the edge where it rolls off there, and how do you think he's attacking this spot right here,
So
tactic-wise?
Well, what you have here is just a historic, classic springtime pattern. You've got a big flat, the back of a creek, dirty water, with a ditch that intersects through here. And there's shallow, it's actually called dog fennel. It's not really a bush, but it's a little bit thicker than a grass that's kind of flooded on the shoreline. So it's just the perfect 1-2 combination for these fish to move out of the ditch, up onto the isolated cover that he's fishing now to set up to start spawning, which is going to be happening we're so close. I mean, it could bust open this afternoon, this early morning. So, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen.
Brad, we see Brandon fishing, shallow cover here. We're getting the word, though, here and there, starting to creep out a little, that some of the best fish are actually up under these floating docks. And Casey Ashley said he knows where there's a limit of 4-pounders swimming around. Golly, that makes him dangerous.
Yeah, and I've seen that time and time again on Lake Hartwell. It's the first thing these fish do, they move out of the guts and they start staging underneath the big floating boat docks. And that's one of two things. Number one, it's going to provide cover for the females when they move shallow. And number two, those black floats on these docks absorb the heat from the sunshine, and they sit right up under those things, getting warm before they make that final push to the bank to start making their bed to spawn. So that seems to be really the key factor for the guys. And that's why the afternoon bite, you see, it gets better. The sun's up more, it's positioning those fish more under the docks, and they move up higher in the water column to be more accessible.
Sun's coming in for a dry.
My man. Things are going to start picking up and happening for these guys later in the day. Everybody's always reported it's been the late bite. Sun's starting to get up now, and it's going to heat the water up, activate these fish, and I think you're going to start seeing things happening pretty quick. The last couple hours of the day definitely going to be crucial for whoever wins the Classic. It just takes one little spot like this to pull in and catch 2 or 3 good ones, and then kind of get your momentum rolling and make a flurry happen. It's just like football and basketball. You got to have the ball bounce your way, and whenever it does, you got to capitalize.
Well, Brad, we just pulled up on Gerald Swindle. He's out here way offshore doing something a little different than everybody we've seen so far today. Does that bode well for him, or is that a sign that maybe he's struggling, or is he really, really trying to get it done here on day 3?
Well, I think that's just kind of a sign of the times of the shallow bite. I know he started this morning shallow, flipping docks, and caught a good one doing it. And, maybe it's just his best chance in his mind to catch a big one, or most fish. I really think that the shallow guys are struggling today, and just making those adjustments that we talk about, put yourself in contention to catch that game-changing bag.
Brad, we're looking at the cover, breaking down cover options here. The fish have gone shallow. There's still a lot of options here. You got flooded dog fennel. You got the flooded dog fennel that's under the water that you can't even see the tops of it. Understand that's a key for the guys who are fishing the more vegetative type cover. But later in the day, you're telling me there's another deal that might just produce a win here.
Yeah, there's a 1-2 punch that the shallow guys are using. Obviously, it's the flooded dog fennel that you can see. It's not really a bush or a grass. It's kind of a combination between. But what guys are really keying on in the back of these pockets where like a ditch would come in is the stuff that's underwater that you can't really see until you get close to it. All the submerged clumps and things. That seems to be where the guys are talking about getting their better bites. So in the mornings, they're wanting to kind of focus on some of this stuff and the dog fennel. And over my shoulder, you see the perfect pre-spawn Classic deal on the floating boat docks. We talked about it a little bit earlier. These fish will move out of the creek channel, move right up underneath these floating docks and suspend until things get just right for them to ease right up there on the bank and spawn. That's also a deal they use to get warm. Those black floats hold heat. The sun starts getting bright. The fish tuck right up underneath those things to get warm and use it basically like a blanket. And they'll sit right there, and whenever conditions get right for them, they're going to flood the bank. And we're just so close to being on the verge of that being a wide open deal. And who's to say that it won't be this afternoon that a guy doesn't pull in the right pocket and catch 3 or 4 of those 4 to 5 pound bass that are swimming around in these places. So it's anybody's ball game.
And it's going to happen late.
Yep.
It's anybody's ball game. Folks, y'all stick around. We're going to go downtown and see how this thing shakes out.
Today's show wouldn't be possible without the great folks at Visit Anderson, South Carolina's bright spot. There's more from the Classic when we return. Welcome back to the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, highlighting the 2018 Bassmaster Classic. We've been out on the water on day 3 and witnessed a slower day than expected. Let's see how the guys who did catch them caught them.
Hot Defoe, 29 pounds, 13 ounces as of this morning. He's got 5 fish, looks for 7, 8, 13 pounds even. He's your brand new leader with 42 pounds and 13 ounces. 5 fish here today for Cliff Pace. Let's get him up that leaderboard. 12 pounds, 13 ounces. He moves into second place with 39 pounds and 13 ounces. 3 fish today. 9 pounds, 4 ounces. Gives him 35 pounds and 4 ounces. And the Prodigy moves into 6th place currently. 28 pounds and 4 ounces going into today. 5 fish, we're looking for 14-10 to take the lead. Let's get him up that leaderboard. 15 pounds even. 26 pounds, 7 ounces going into today. He's looking for 16 pounds, 12 ounces to take the lead. 17 pounds, 6 ounces. 17-6. Matt Lee, your brand new Geico daily leader. 43 pounds and 15 ounces. Let's hear it for your brand new leader, Matt Lee. Well, I kind of joked with you at the beginning of the week. I said, you know, it's cool hanging out with you after your brother won, but I'd rather hang out with you after you win. Are we partying tonight?
Man, I don't know. I had a tough day yesterday, but I told y'all before I went behind stage, I said, I'm going to go out tomorrow, I'm going to catch a big one, or I'm going to go down swinging. And good Lord bless me today. I tried to fish the conditions, and it was hot, it was slick, and I just fished real methodical this morning, and everything was clicking. And it was real eerie, you know, Jordan with the comeback he had last year, and to catch the 4, and then to catch 5 and a half almost. It was weird out there.
Leads 14 pounds, 3 ounces. Oh, this is gonna be close. 16 pounds, 4 ounces. 16-4. Your brand new Geico daily leader with 46 pounds and an ounce. Brent Taylor is leading the Geico Bassmasters Classic once again.
You could cut the tension with a knife as the Super 6 were presented. Defending Classic champion Jordan Lee took the stage.
Looking for 15 pounds, 6 ounces. $16 pounds, 5 ounces. 16.5.
Then there were 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most feared names in professional bass fishing. 5-time Bassmaster winner from Park Hill, Oklahoma, Jason Christie. Jordan, come on over side by side, guys. We are going to crown a champion here. Start the day with 37 pounds, 4 ounces, looking for 914. 8 pounds, 11 ounces. Jordan Lee, back-to-back Geico Bassmaster Classic champion.
That wraps up our coverage of the 2018 Bassmaster Classic from Greenville, South Carolina. A special thanks to Brad Knight for his perspective and on-the-water coverage. And remember, for all things bass fishing, log on to the source, anglerschannel.com. Thanks for watching the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show.
Promotional consideration provided by Carhartt, Bass Mafia, Buckeye Lures, Collins Boating, Sims Clothing, and Ed Watkins Marine. Produced by anglerschannel.com.